Hi guys! Today I'm going to take a look at putting some custom makeup and sort of just paint touch up on an American Girl dolls. So let's show you first what I need to get started. Okay, so you can see here all the supplies that I have, which are just, here's some acrylic paint. So I'm going to mix these four colors to get whatever shade of brown that I want for eyeliner and eyebrow touch-ups. So I have a blush and a bronzer. So for light skin dolls, even medium skin dolls, I tend to use the lighter rose shade of blush. I apply that with a cotton ball, and I have a light sort of medium pink shade of lipstick that I'm going to use and apply with a lip brush. And when you're doing eyebrows and eye paint, what I tend to want to use is these itty bitty, teeny tiny little paintbrushes. I like this one the best because it essentially just lets one little hair on the brush touch the doll at a time. All right, and then the wet paper towel is because acrylic paint, you can wipe it off as you're working. If you make a mistake, you can always start over. So you're gonna wanna have this handy so you can just wipe it off if you're not liking the way that it turns out, and you can just give it another go. What I don't have shown here is that you can get an acrylic sealer. I usually get a matte sealer so that it's not shiny on the doll's face. And once you get it exactly like you like it, you're going to want to go over just the areas that you've painted with an acrylic sealer to make the deal permanent. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be working on Sasha here. She is a TLC doll that I bought off of Craigslist some time ago. You can see she's a number 24. Her hair was cut. It was actually shaved down in the front, and I went in and sewed some donor hair from hair extensions. So let's get started. The first thing that I do is I want to clean the doll's face. Now, I've already gone over her once, but what I use is these Norwex microfiber towels. They do a very, very good job. It's a very light scrubbing action, but it gets all of the dirt and hand oils and that kind of stuff off of the doll's face. Any old makeup that you've got on there, it'll wipe that clean. And I'll just let that dry for just a second. You want to make sure you have a clean, dry surface to work on. All right, so I'm going to use this as my mixing palette here. And I'm going to do a little bit of black, a little bit of yellow, and a little dot of red. Okay, a dab of white on the plate. Okay, perfect. Okay, so here we go. I've got my little brush here. I've loaded it up with this paint that I've matched through kind of trial and error. And I'm going to just try to do the first two strokes are always right here at the corner of the existing eyebrow. So that lets me know the shape of the brow. I'm gonna go ahead and do them on the other side too. And then I'm going to just put the shape of the brow in place. There we go. These tiny little strokes, like I'm making individual little hairs for her eyebrow. And you can kind of see what happens is that the original line brow kind of becomes the anchor, almost a shadow behind the paint that you're applying. I prefer, very strongly prefer, the feathered brows on the American Girl dolls instead of these line brows. And it would seem that most of the dolls are kind of going that way, so I'm probably not the only one who prefers them. So these feather brows are not hard to recreate. So I'm just going to put these lines on, just like that. So you can see Sasha has pretty subtle feather brows now. And I may want to go back in with a slightly darker shade and just create some dimension. So I'm going to pick a shade darker on my palette here. Make sure I've got lots of paint on the brush. Only a little bit is going to touch the doll at one time, but that way you have a better chance of controlling where your paint goes. So put little dark marks, paying really close attention to the area right around the bridge of her nose. That's going to be where you notice this the most. Okay, so there you go. So I added a little bit of dark, so it's got more of a dimensional look. And I'm going to go back on the other side, making sure just that one little hair of my paintbrush is touching the doll. I'm going to add a few little hairline marks on the other side. Okay, so that is eyebrows. Easy peasy. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on her eye makeup. So it's sort of a brown black. All right, so the first thing is going to be over here in the corner. You can kind of see a natural indentation in the vinyl, just the way the face is molded. And that's where my little line's gonna go, just like that. And then I put a few little tiny brush marks starting inside the rim of her eye and then kind of feathering upward. And if they don't come out perfect, that's okay. We can always try again. So just go up, about right there. And then I'm going to stop right there. We can see what we're working with. Go back in and paint the rim of her eye. And maybe just one or two below that midline where you started. Okay, so here we go. So there is corner paint. You can see it's super subtle. This is going to look really, really pretty in pictures. I'm going to go back in and paint the rim of her eye and also paint on top of her eye as well. See, make it more blended. Sorry, I'm off camera there. All right, so I'm going to paint the rim and just around the top here. So it'll blend into her eyelashes. It won't stick out. You won't have a separation between her lash line and these that we've added, the shadow lashes that we've added here. All right, I'm going to scrape that straight with my fingernail. Perfect. All right, and another thing I like to do on the eyes is over here in the corner. Again, you can kind of see a shadow from the way that the vinyl is molded. And I just take my brush and just put a little notch, a little triangular shaped notch over here in the corner. Just like that. It really is as simple as that. You can see here is a tiny little notch right there in the corner. And so let's look at her eye. And you can see it's a very natural, subtle look, but much more human looking than it was before. All right, so let's see if I can make the other side match. Let's get our dark brown. Here, whoopsie. All right, so I've got my one got away from me. So let's carefully take my wet paper towel. Don't want to wipe off her eyebrow because we got that pretty good actually. Okay, so I was able to wipe that off. Whew, that was a close one. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, Sasha looks fantastic. It's a pretty good match, pretty even symmetry. I love that from a 3/4 or side profile, that little notch really does enhance the naturalism of the doll's look. And so here's what the next step is. So what I do, I'll go ahead and we're done with the paint for now, is I'm going to take my personal blush that I use, and I'm just going to get a good amount of it on a cotton ball. And I found that this looks really good on medium skin dolls as well. You may have to build up more than one layer. All right, so I go up the jawline and then to the kind of the round of her cheek. And I'm just going to dab it on there. And I'm going to kind of rub it in tiny little circles, working my way up the jawline. You don't want to go crazy. You don't want psychedelic red. Just a nice soft coral pink seems to be perfect. And then I'm going to go on the other side again. Start on the ball of her cheek. Work all the way up the jawline. I'm just doing these little circle motions as I go. And then take the clean side, wipe off any excess. Just like that. Let's see where we sit. So how are we doing, Sasha? Ah, she looks nice. I'm really happy with that. So let's do the last step. So for her lips, I just do a little bit of lip stain on a brush. This is my lip brush. And I just work carefully. I start around the inside of the lip line and work up. Okay, and so then right now the hardest part is the top. I get a good shape of the lip line and to make sure they're even. Okay, so that looks good. That looks good to me. And so there you go. I'm gonna style her hair really quick and I'm gonna put her in some cute outfit and take a few pictures so you can kind of see how this looks in the daylight. So here's Sasha after we've gotten her all dressed. You can see her with her nifty little jeans and gray tank top. And if you take a close look, I think she looks absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna take a few photos, which you'll probably see on my Instagram account, which is 1 Million Doll Hairs. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe.